Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I want to explain why it is something I've talked about getting developed has not really made a lot of progress. To be clear, this is an explanation, it is not an excuse. I can't stand excuses and I don't like making them myself. Don't take me off the hook for it at all. I was talking about making a website that would make it easier for you to see if AI surveillance camera systems like Flock or LiveView are going to pop up in your neighborhood. So if you want to look and see that laws that are proposed, you can use a website like Legiscan. They have nice APIs for it. You can search it. It's very easy to see when certain laws pass up at the federal or the state level. But when it comes to city council stuff, which is where these cameras usually get installed, there's no real centralized database to look up when something is getting proposed at a city council hearing. And every single city in the United States has a different type of website, a different way of navigating it. It's a pain in the ass. So most people who are busy and work 10 hours a day, go to school, have a family, have a cat that's constantly demanding of them, don't have the time to look through this. So I wanted to put together a website that did the following. It would work with one of those scrapers like Curate Solutions. The Curate Solutions types of scrapers, they're expensive, like 20 to 40K a year-ish. What you would do with that is you would have that site that looks through over 12,000 different municipal governments in the United States, and you would use their API. This website would search for things like Flock Camera, LiveView Technologies, all the different names, all the different AI surveillance companies, ALPR, Automated License Plate Reader, and so on and so forth. It would take all of those, it would take the snippet and just a link to that particular city council meeting and put it in a queue. Volunteer moderators can now easily browse through this queue, and you can click accept or deny based on it being real. If somebody is talking about a flock of birds for 5 minutes and talking about the double trouble, struggle, juggle, whatever, deny. If it is actually a Flock camera installation, you would hit confirm and this would show up on a map or a calendar. This would make it easy for you. You could simply input your email and a zip code and a number that represents the mile radius that you wish to be informed anytime one of these installations is about to pop up in your town, and you would get an alert. So if you put my zip code is 11216, 50 miles, you would get alerted every time there is a city council hearing related to installing these cameras within a 50-mile radius, which would help get people to show up. I also wanted this website to have a lot of the good counter arguments to be used against these cameras being installed. Things like you don't have an expectation of privacy and a public space and items like that. And the thing that I wanted to go over today is why this has made virtually no progress, and just to apologize for putting my own selfishness over what are the things that I've actually promised. So one of the things that I have been working on is putting together pages that go over the arguments against this stuff. So for instance, if somebody says you have no expectation of privacy in a public space, yeah, let's put together some Supreme Court cases that talk about the opposition to that from a Fourth Amendment perspective when we're talking about automated AI surveillance. But more importantly, this website not being put together. Why? So I've said that this is not really making the progress that I'd like. I'd like to hire a developer to do it. And then I changed my mind. I changed my mind because my private company has been kind of going in the shitter recently for a number of different reasons. And I am taking the developer that I was going to have do this off of this project to develop my main website. So I have a data recovery business. The Rossmann Repair Group has been around for a while, and I hope for it to be around into the future. We do data recovery. We do motherboard repair. Not a lot of motherboard repair anymore because the motherboard repair stuff, you used to be able to buy a donor board for $7 to $12. You used to be able to buy the chips for 50 cents to $5, and now donor boards are like $200 to $400 sometimes, and that changes the market for things. So a lot of what we do now is data recovery. We do things like if your the heads on your hard drive are broken, if you have scratches on your platters, if your micro SD card has been cracked in half, if the helium has come out of your drive, the crazy fuck that works at my store will try to put the helium back in. His name is Chris, and when I say crazy fuck, I mean that as the highest level of compliment that I could give to another technician. This guy is insane. He does all sorts of cool shit. That's my main business. And we were, after about 8 or 9 years of being able to do this type of lab level work on hard drives, SSDs, micro SD cards, we finally worked our way up to where on Google for certain services, we were like number 8 to number 20 in the search results. And sometime around June, we don't show up in the first 100. We don't show up in the first 200. We're just gone. If you search for certain hyper-specific words that nobody will ever search for, we show up. But otherwise, we are gone. So I wanted to have my developers work on my site, but I was putting together the Consumer Rights Wiki, which is this site over here. And that took a lot. This was taking developer time. After this was done, I wanted to work on my site, and well, we wanted to, for this new nonprofit that I have, we're working on this bounties thing where for certain devices where there are digital locks on them, this is a website dedicated, this is a nonprofit that's essentially dedicated to reforming Section 12.1 of the DMCA. One of our projects is showing how ridiculous some elements of the DMCA are. If you want to be able to fix your game console, if somebody shows you how to fix your game console, they're breaking the law and can go to prison for 3 to 5 years. Many opposition lobbyists will say that when we talk about reforming the DMCA, DMCA. This is a solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist. So we'd like to actually have a bunch of solutions to problems and then say, if this is not a problem, then why do you think all these people should go to prison? Some people are releasing the solutions, some are not, because they fear 3 to 5 years in federal prison. But anyway, point being, this is a website that took quite a bit of time, and now I'm finally at the point where my bank account for my primary business is starting to reflect the fact that I have not been on Google for almost half a year now. And I've had to make this choice where I'm looking at, okay, I've kind of ran down this other rabbit hole of Flock, LiveView, AI surveillance, but I do have a company with 6 employees that I do need to take care of. I offered everybody raises if they follow me across the country to Texas, and I offered them 1.5 years of free rent. And I did so before I realized that screens were not going to be available to MacBooks, that donor boards are going to go from $7 to $13 up to $300+, and before I realized that I was going to be almost completely kicked off of Google for most major search terms. Now, I have kept most of my promises to the people that work here, and I have kept my company kind of going straight forward. But I have a problem where there's two separate problems that I have. The first one is that I like to try and I like new projects. I like trying out new things, and I like chasing new things when I see them. So I kind of have this ADHD isn't even where you begin to describe it. When I'm up to like 6 or 7 different companies at this point, where there's new things that I like to chase. But more importantly, my second problem is I tend to always focus on everybody else other than myself. But the problem there is I can't focus on anybody else if I sync myself. So my main primary business, Rossmann Repair Group, has opened up a lot of opportunities and a lot of doors to me over the years. My board repair videos always lost me subscribers. Every time I released a board repair video, I would lose 200 to 500 subscribers. However, when I would talk about right to repair as an issue, it wasn't like I'm just some random guy screaming into a camera. I'm a random guy screaming into a camera who also has over 600 videos, 400 live streams, a fucking 160-page manual going over board repair that also has some of the best reviews in the field. So it's not like I'm just making these things up from nowhere. So that would help me when I would talk about this type of thing. It's opened doors with regards to introducing me to people who could help me form nonprofits. It's helped me open doors when I'm speaking to politicians. It's helped open doors in a number of different ways to opportunities that otherwise would not have existed without the company existing. So it is important to me that this company stays alive and continues to exist into the future. And a big part of my company continuing to stay alive and exist into the future is having a website that actually shows up on Google and fixing a number of the issues that I have at this point with my primary company, which has been somewhat neglected as I focus on nonprofit number 3 and these other random consumer protection hobbies and everything else that I go across. So I am sorry to everybody who has been waiting for this. I've gotten a bunch of emails saying, where is this website? I would love to see where the Flock hearings or when a Flock hearing shows up in my town. I'm too lazy to look this up. I don't have time to look it up. And I'm sorry. Again, it's an explanation, not an excuse. I would like to keep my company from sinking. I do not know why Google decided to fucking delist my company's website. I think it's a pretty cool website. We got a lot of it. I do not pay for advertising as I go over in this page. I'm happy to not pay for advertising because when you see this shit over here, all these companies that wind up charging $6,000 to $9,000 for shit that we do for $400 is because of this. It's because of this shit. The fucking ads. They're very, very expensive. And when you're paying $70 to $150 a click, if 4% or 10% of the people are converted, you're paying thousands of dollars before anybody gets in the door. I hate ads. I don't watch ads. I don't want to watch. I block ads. So for me to pay for advertising seems like a hypocritical meme. Now, why not have just another developer work on it? What I've learned over the years is it's very easy to hand $1,000 or $5,000 or $20,000 over to somebody who says they're a professional and have them do a garbage job. I like working with people that I know hit the ball out of the park every single time, and I have a small number of those, and I'm choosing selfishly, and you can rip me in the comments for it, to allot that to my personal business while it still exists, rather than allot it to other projects that I've, like shiny toy. It's a squirrel thing. I'm sorry. I'm going to focus on this for the next 2 months. Once I figure out how to fix these problems with my company so that my company actually ranks for some of these services again, so people realize that we exist and have the pricing of a data recovery company that does not pay for advertising at all, then I will get back to everything else. And again, if you know anybody who needs these type of services, who has a helium drive where everybody else says no, and would like to probably try to work with somebody who's a psycho enough to actually recover the data by putting the helium back in the fucking drive, yeah, give us a shout. If you work in law enforcement and you pay $6,000 to $9,000 for your data recovery, and you'd really rather spend that money on anything else, not a Flock camera, look us up. As long as you say that you're not going to spend that money on a fucking Flock camera, we'll give you a good deal. There are a lot of companies in this industry that will charge $1,000 or $2,000 for replacing a TVS diode. There are a number of companies in this industry, and I won't say the names, you could look them up on certain subreddits related to data recovery to see, that will just fucking erase your drive if you refuse to pay for the bill or if you refuse the estimate. There are companies in this industry that will charge $2,000 to $3,000 for an iPhone charge port, and they'll have no problem showing up on page 1 of Google. The company that's actually honest about it is what it is. Life is not fair. And you can either bitch and whine and complain, or you can do something about it. And what I'm doing about it is taking the developer off of the project I promised all of you I would do and putting him on this to figure it out. I'm sorry that I've let you down. I'm sorry I said I was going to do one thing and did another. Here's why. It's an explanation, not an excuse. I'm going to focus on myself a little bit so that I still have a company 3 to 6 months from now. Because there's something about not showing up on Google for terms like hard drive data recovery service that's really harmful to a hard drive data recovery company. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. Hello, little Barry. You're a good kitty. Hello.